Hi, and welcome to the first semester show for the morning after. We got a great show ahead, so stick around. Hello, and welcome to the first show for the morning after. I'm John Welsh, and with me today is Kevin Japil, who is going to talk to me a little bit about the first weekend. Welcome, Jason.
Hey, thanks for having me, John.
No problem at all. So, first thing, what is it like for new kids basically coming to school, for freshmen to start moving in that first day?
Well, what you got to understand is that unless they went to a boarding school prior to Quinnipiac, this is their first time sort of out of their house. And if you look at sort of generational differences with Generation Z, they were probably home all summer. Only about 40% of Generation Z worked this summer. So they were home, maybe they're in camp, maybe they're taking a summer class. But they're leaving their comfort zone, physically and metaphorically. They're coming to Quinnipiac, they haven't been home, they've been home all summer, they're living with new people. They probably don't have a roommate at home, unless they have a large family in a small house. But they're coming to Quinnipiac, and they're not mentally prepared for the challenges of living with new people, of having a new schedule, of having to make good decisions for themselves to succeed at college.
Okay, you said that there was like a bit of a generational differences. Is that like, can you see that even within some members? So like sophomores, are they different from freshmen?
If you look at generation as sort of a grade cohort here at Quinnipiac, sure, you won't see much in like the real generational terms, such as millennial, Generation Z differences. But if you look at freshmen to seniors, obviously you're going to have some big changes. During move-in, you have freshman families come in, parents need to use a bathroom. They're upset. They've been waiting in line for 20, 30, maybe an hour. Kids want to get the best bed in their room, so they're energetic. They want to get to the room quickly. Everybody's been in the car for a while. They're hot, hungry, need to use the bathroom. Sophomores, juniors, that's when you see kids with parents who have been here before. They know what they're going through. They just want to get in and out. Then you have seniors, some juniors and seniors who are moving in by themselves, and they'll take all day to move in, or they'll move in late at night, or do things that they're not necessarily scheduled to do to make their lives easier.
Yeah, all right. So with big like emotions like that, a lot of tension, a lot of upset people, are there any like interesting stories you've had of stuff like on move-in?
You definitely get some angry parents. The good ones are when they don't follow your directions. So I know a couple parents threatened to run some CAs, OLs over with their vehicles if they didn't get out of their way.
Wow.
So
free tuition though.
Well, you might be missing the first couple weeks of school, so I don't know how your grades would be impacted because of that. But yeah, you know, you have parents who are upset because they've been following the directions and it's taking a while, so then they try to not follow the directions, and then they end up back where they were started. And then it just takes them even longer.
Is it usually the parents who are like, oh, the...
Yeah, that's what we've seen.
Wow.
You know, students are moving in, they don't really want to cause a stir, but parents are used to getting what they want, and maybe they're paying for tuition here and they expect better service.
Right, okay. Speaking of the students though, for the kids who actually do, once they've had about a week or so to adjust, like right now, does that sort of nervousness stick with them this long?
You know, it all depends on the student there, John. Some students settle right in, they make some good friends, they start making good decisions or bad decisions with them. Other students, sure, they're nervous. You know, you'll see, you know, a little bit of turnover in the end of the fall semester with students not coming back, and probably a little bit more in the spring.
All right, and do you like basically being here for all that? Is it...
Moving. No. Yeah, no, I wish I could just slide right in the day before school started, you know, be home with my family for a little bit longer. But it is nice being at a school before students move in. You sort of feel like the king of campus, you know, nobody's around. But then people start trickling in, and then you realize, you know, you're just one of many here at Quinnipiac.
It sometimes feels like the community is already like that. I came in like 2 days before movement was already happening, and basically all my friends are already here too. Right. So like, is that like normal? You said people like to feel like they're king of the campus, but...
Sure, well, you know, RACA, well, throughout the summer, there's a couple of students here taking classes, and then some kids working on campus who have found out a way to live on campus, and athletes will be here during the summer. Then approximately 2.5 to 3 weeks before classes start, RACAs move back in for training. Then you have OLs moving in about a week before school, and then move-in crew 4 to 5 days. So by the time move-in crew's back, there's a good amount of people on campus. And then, of course, freshmen, then sophomores and juniors start moving back.
Yeah. Does it get kind of annoying sometimes, especially down here on main campus when you've got classes, but you also have people moving in? Is that any different from up on the upper campus or even apartments where you move in, but there's some room?
I wouldn't say so. I'd say the kids who move in late at night or a day or two after classes already began, they're just doing their own thing. Sort of nice that they didn't move in earlier because there's 1 or 2 less cars you had to direct.
Yeah, that's understandable. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Kevin. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And now we're going to cut to weather. So the weather forecast for the coming days is Monday, September 11th, that's today. There's a high of 76 and a low of 56. It's sunny out. For Tuesday, tomorrow, September 12th, the sun's going to stay with us. It's actually going to be a little bit hotter. It's going to be a high of 80 with a high of 57, with a low actually of 57. On Wednesday, September 13th, some clouds are going to be moving in. It's going to stick with a high of 80, and the low is going to get a bit higher at 63. Thursday, September 14th, the clouds are going to stick with us, a little bit cooler with a high of 79 and a low of 61. Friday, September 15th, the clouds are going to be in full swing with a high of 74 and a low of 57. Saturday, September 16th, clouds are still going to be around with a high of 75 and a low of 56. And Sunday, September 17th, the clouds are going to be moving out just a little bit. It's going to be partly cloudy with a high of 73 and a low of 57. So that's your weather forecast for the day. We're going to head on over to a commercial, and coming up, we're going to be talking about the new religious center on campus, so don't go anywhere.
Coming up on #that, we talk about some fun events around Quinnipiac's campus.
And we talk about some weird news that's been discussed around Twitter.
All that and more, we are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Whether you're on the quad,
in your room,
or heading to class,
tune in to Q30 News.
For stories by student journalists you can trust.
we are covering the latest here on campus and in surrounding areas.
Get the news you need to know every Wednesday night.
Bobcat Breakdown presented by the Quinnipiac Bobcats Sports Network.
We are your source for debate.
Did they make the playoffs last year, Tom Jenkins?
When it clicks, it clicks.
We dissect Quinnipiac athletics on a scale you've never seen before.
With Tobia, it almost looks like she's reaching a little bit.
Plus, we're bringing the biggest names surrounding college sports.
We are live here at the Times Union Center with Jay Billis.
And of course, some comedy.
But you can only have so much arena food.
I think you're crazy.
Bobcat Breakdown.
Tuesdays at 9:30.
Welcome back to the morning after. Now, people returning from campus might have been surprised that one of the CAS buildings was turned into a new religious center, so I thought it would be best to have a nice talk with this. We have with us Ali Munshi, who is the president of the Muslim Student Association, Gobari Adamkwe, a representative from the Protestant Christian Fellowship, myself being a member of the Catholic chaplaincy on campus, and Gabriel Weiss from the Harold House Jewish Center. So, gentlemen, thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much for having us.
So I think it would be good to get a feel for how each of us feels about being religious on campus in general. So Ali, I'll start with you. Any opinions, positive or negative experiences you've had on campus in terms of being religious, being an open Muslim?
Well, yeah, so I would say so far, over the course of my 4 years, it's all been positive. I mean, being the vice president for the Muslim Student Association the past 2 years and now being the president this year, I can only say that I've had nothing but positive experiences. I mean, students on this campus are very they need a little bit more knowledge about what Islam is, because you take a look at the news and you see all these negative things and these negative connotations, assimilated and sort of just combined with the religion, which is just not true. And so the MSA has been able to break down those sort of systematic stereotypes, and it's been a journey, and it's been awesome.
Awesome to hear. Okay, Gabar, what about for you? Any sort of experiences you've had?
So far, I would say it's been pretty good overall for my first 2 years, and now heading into my third year as a junior. I have come into some professors who are very against religion, and sometimes they can be quite vocal about it. Thankfully for me, I was a pretty good student in their class, so that helped me to win over their good side. And even though we had disagreements, they were still able to respect my views. I was able to respect theirs. But besides that, I would say overall a quite good experience.
Gabriel, let's get yours too.
I'd say overall it's been great. There definitely have been a good amount of instances though where there have been either professors that are anti-Semitic in some sort or students who express some stupidity of anti-Semitism.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily they are anti-Semitic, they just want to act that way. But mostly it's been a very good experience over the 4 years.
I myself, my opinion, I guess I'll be the cynic here. On Ash Wednesday, probably particularly for Catholics, it's probably the most public faith or practice we have on campus, and you always get students who want to sound a little edgy, I guess you'd say. Mm-hmm. I've had people saying like derogatory terms for people, saying think you can wipe the shame with some dirt, stuff like that, saying Satan would never have his followers do stuff like that. It's very just not fun stuff. But the community itself, though, is very positive, and there are definitely plenty of people on here who want to know, who are genuinely curious, and aren't just trying to cause some jokes. But now on to the Religious Center. It has a very interesting story, as it was initially thought up as a Catholic center. But due to, once it had already been finalized and agreed upon, some of these faculty who don't particularly or are critical of religion wanted to see it taken away. So the compromise they came up with was making it a religious center. So I'd probably like your guys' opinion on that. Was that a good move? Was that the right thing to do? Or?
So, in terms of my knowledge on this center, which stems back all the way to my sophomore year, because I've been involved in the process and I've dealt with the faculty, the architects behind the building, things like that. Initially, in its initial conception, the way it was presented to us was that it was going to be a reflection center that resembled that of Penn State and their Pasquale spiritual center. And so then all of a sudden it became a Catholic chaplaincy, and to the rest of the Muslim students and some of the other students, religious students on campus that are not Muslim, not Christian or Jewish, and even some of the atheist students, we were kind of taken aback. Where how did this happen? Where it's now just a Catholic center, or a Catholic chaplaincy. And then the conversation sort of became, well, it's a Catholic chaplaincy because it's a Catholic donor, and Father Jordan has been fighting for it to become a religious center. I think that's all well and good. I think it's fantastic that we have a religious center on campus. My only concern and issue is that when you have a religious center, when you deem it a religious center, it should be open for the student body, or at least the heads of religious life, to be able to book in that space. As it currently stands, only Catholic students are using that space. That is very, very, very problematic.
Gobari, any opinions to add? Any sort of...
Yeah, just based on my knowledge of the situation, which I don't know all the ins and outs and the behind-the-scenes details, I guess I find it interesting because I feel like religion on campus is looked at inclusivity, diversity, but also just like an overall welcoming experience, which I think is good. I think it is important for us to be respectful towards people who have different views than us, but at the same time, I don't think it's possible to be able to walk hand in hand and sing Kumbaya with different religions if you have fundamentally different views on the world. You can still respect one another, be loving towards one another, but you can't see eye to eye. That's just impossible at the root of each religion. But in terms of the center, I think it's a good idea to have a dedicated space for all religions. I think that is important still, just so everyone can have their voice. Everyone's voice matters is important to be able to put their perspective out there. But yeah, as Ali mentioned, I think it may be difficult, having someone who has their own set religion being the head of it, to be able to let everyone kind of has to answer to them in terms of having to have events there or whatnot. That may be problematic. So,
Gabriel, any opinions for yourself?
Yeah, I definitely have a stronger viewpoint on this, just working from the Herald House because we did have to deal with Father Jordan. I really do genuinely believe that this was just an initiative by Father Jordan to emulate the Jewish Center. Because yes, we have a Herald House for Jewish life. There was a specific house donated to the Jews of this campus for our religious services, and I believe that this entire thing was really made for his own ego to have some place on the campus that's not the Buckman Center. And I think that this could have been a beautiful thing for all religions to use. I really do. But the way that it's built now and the way that it seems now, it is not for all religions. I believe it's specifically only for Catholics, and I think it will stay that way for a long while unless there is a good amount of change.
That actually sort of emulates some of these student opinions we gathered around from campus, some from non-religious people. A number of them said it was a good idea, but to their knowledge, only Catholic masses and rosaries and such were implemented. So one friend of mine who's actually a non-religious but comes from a religious home stated, historically, people have always had problems trying to make the Abrahamic religions, like secular forces trying to make them make nice kind of doesn't work. Any sort of opinions on that? Is that sort of true? Does that ring true? I think you touched on this in the last question.
So I think that the Abrahamic religions, yes, there are some inherent differences, but at the end of the day, if you actually take a look at the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran, you can see that there is a story, right? It starts with the Torah, it goes to the Bible, then it finishes with the Quran. Someone who's done extensive research and knowledge behind the Bible, the Torah, and the Quran, I can sit here and tell you that while there are differences, I think the messages are very similar. They are very similar. And for us to sit here and say, well, you know what, because you're Jewish and I'm Muslim, we can't come to the table and shake hands, I think that's outrageous. Or because you're Catholic and I'm Muslim, we can't, that's outrageous to me. And so, can we all walk in a circle and sing Kumbaya? Maybe not, because of those religious differences. But we can absolutely sit down, have productive conversations, love each other, respect each other, help each other program, and build on those relationships.
All right. Another sort of topic that I think would be interesting to discuss is there was actually a shift in the religious leadership. The pastor, Andy, from last year left to start his own church up in Massachusetts, I believe. Father Jordan was let go to his responsibility as chaplain, and a new chaplain is now in. There was an email sent out by the rabbi,
Yes.
and Ali, I should probably lead in with this because I actually don't know the imam situation.
Yeah, so this happens every single year where I've been asked to be included on the process to find an imam, but it just so happens that our religious life on this campus is never actively looking for an imam, as it occurs to me, as I see it. And so this year, we promoted an excellent faculty member, Idris Awudu, who's part of the School of Business, to fill that chaplaincy void. But again, it would be really nice to have someone who's trained from the seminaries, from the lectures, to be able to take over that chaplaincy position. And we just apparently, as a religious life, can't find that.
Gabar, yourself, any pastor situation, any new?
Yeah, as you said, Andy left to start a church in Mass. So with that, Colby Putnam, he's the new Protestant chaplain. He was also running the Quinnipiac Christian Fellowship, the Protestant organization on campus. So he took over in his role as the Protestant chaplain.
Oh, very nice. And Gabe, any news with the rabbi?
So there was a lot of debate on whether the rabbi was actually going to stay this year. Most of that was due to the fact that Father Jordan was the head of the religious life now, for the executive leader for religious life, which none of us ever sat right that a priest would be in charge of a rabbi. And not going very much into it, but she was able to be moved from religious life to the multicultural and have a different boss and have different leadership technically. And so the Herald House for Jewish Life is still staying, the rabbi is still staying. It has now leveled out to a point where it can all move smoothly.
And us personally at the Catholic Center, we got a new priest from the same order, in fact, but he's fresh-faced out of seminary, trying to get some experiences under his belt before kind of moving out into the world. As Gabe said, Father Jordan left to become the head of the religious center. I personally have met the man, and the new Father Matt seems like a very nice man. He enjoys fully explaining homilies and life experiences, so us at the chaplaincy have things going on fairly well. But I'd like to thank you all for joining me, coming on and giving your opinions for this. Thank you all very much. Would you like to tell about your meetings, try and get anyone who might not know about the Muslims or our Christian Fellowship when you can meet and where?
Sure. So the actually the Muslim Student Association, we're still hammering out some details in terms of meeting times, but we will be having a speaker event in early November. So be on the lookout for that. Our last event, which was the Eid dinner on Friday, had over 100 people attend in SC 119 or SC 120, which can only house a certain number of people. So we're growing exponentially in terms of our event attendance. We won Student Organization of the Year last year, so we're on a good track moving forward, and hopefully we can continue that success.
Barry, any meetings?
Yeah, we have daily prayer for QCF every weekday, Monday through Friday, 1 to 1:30. That's in SC 207. There's a men's group Sundays at 5:30 in SC 207, a women's group at 7:30 in SC 207, and a couple other small groups as well.
There is Friday night Shabbat every single Friday, and so if you want, you can always contact the rabbi and always just come into the Herald House if she says the okay.
And masses are held at 5 p.m. in the New Religious Center every Sunday. Thank you all, gentlemen. Coming up is the talk about music on campus. So we'll be right back after these commercials.
Great job, guys.
And clear. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Again, this really helped us.
Joel's coming out in a second.
Thank you.
Yeah, this.
Whether you're on the quad,
In your room.
Or heading to class.
tune in to Q30 News.
For stories by student journalists you can trust.
We are covering the latest here on campus and in surrounding areas.
Get the news you need to know every Wednesday night.
Good morning and welcome to the morning after.
Coming up on #that, we talk about some fun events around Quinnipiac's campus.
And we talk about some weird news that's been discussed around Twitter.
All that and more, we are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Hello and welcome back to the morning after. I have with me my good friend Connor McCabe, who is the host of the Connor McCabe Show up there in the radio station here. Connor, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, John.
So we actually just got done talking about the religious situation here on campus, and you said you had some opinions on how music and religion go hand in hand. So would you like to kind of start off with that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, a big part of me believes, I mean, I know I'm more here for the music, but I know religion and music for a lot of people are very definitive parts of their lives, and in some cases they go hand in hand, but I know it's a little bit more, religion tends to be more of a touchy topic for people than music is, and what I like about a lot of the music here on campus and the things that I'm involved with is that it's a very inclusive, it's very inclusive, and there's a lot of opportunities for people to get involved regardless of who you are or what it is you may or may not believe.
All right, very
which
well.
is great.
So what actually sparked your initial interest in music to get you so involved in just music in general on campus?
I mean, I guess it dates back to as early as like when I was a little kid, just riding in the back seat and listening to my mom and dad just turn on the radio station. Whatever would just be on the radio is what I would hear. And I really kind of developed an ear for that kind of music. That's why I don't listen a lot to contemporary artists. I listen to a lot of like older stuff. That's actually the theme of my radio show. Is it's a lot of top 40 pop material, from everything dating from like the mid 50s all the way up to like the early to mid 90s.
And do you actually take music classes here on campus?
I do, yeah.
What are those like? Where are they? What are...
Well, the one that I'm taking right now, it's actually in the new music building that's down on Sherman Avenue. And it's a class, it's like intro to American popular music. So the first class we talked a little bit about jazz music, And I think this week we're going to be going a little bit more into jazz and then talk a little bit about like rhythm and blues music.
And so, what is it about the radio station that you feel is good about music? How does it let you express your musical taste?
I think what's great about it is that it does teach you a little bit about the responsibility that goes into broadcasting. You can't just go on air and say whatever you want. You can to a certain degree, but it shows that there's a little bit of self-control that goes into it. But what's great about it is that we have lots of shows. The schedule for the radio station actually just came out a few days ago. And there's a lot of new shows, there's a lot of returning shows, and you can basically have a show here on campus that's about anything. There's sports shows, there's talk shows. I know that there's some underclassmen that have a relationship, like dating advice show this semester. But in terms of music, what's great about it is that you can go in with your own library of music, like I do. You can go on air and play your own material, which I try not to avoid. I don't like to push my own stuff too much. But really, there's no restrictions when it comes to what it is you want to express on air, which is fantastic.
You said you don't like to express your own stuff on your radio show. Is there any place that the radio station sponsors or does where you do like to push your own music?
Actually, yeah. This Thursday, I think it is, we're going to be having the first open mic night of the semester. It's kind of a new project that we got going on because we're teaming up with Montage to kind of bring everybody together. And there's artists that play their own songs, you play cover songs, there's people who go up and they read poetry, or they go up and they'll do like a little karaoke thing with like a backing track. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great opportunity to just kind of get up there and show the community what it is you got.
You said you were a big fan of like the 80s contemporary type music. Do you
Yeah.
have any personal favorite artists, personal favorite songs? And if so, what is it about their style or what they did that really resonates with you?
I guess, well, I mean, one of the artists that I'm going to be playing on my show this Thursday, it's from 9 to 11, little plug, but one of my favorite artists is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And I really like, he's just got very much his own style. He plays guitar, it's a lot of rock and blues music, and he just kind of goes up there. I saw him in concert this summer, and what's great about it is that the atmosphere at the concert, you have everybody from like their 60s all the way down to guys my age and even younger, and it's that kind of music that even 40 years after its initial release, people still listen to it and people still talk about it. It still gets airplay. So
And people still want to be Heartbreakers, it seems.
Exactly, yeah.
Any other sort of like just, I remember I personally was on your show once. You played some Bruce Springsteen, I believe you did?
I did. I'm a big Springsteen guy. I'm originally from Jersey, so it's sort of like a law in Jersey where it's like you're either a Bruce Springsteen fan or you're a Bon Jovi fan. I tend to lean more to Springsteen than Jovi, though.
Any particular reason was it just loyalty thing? Was it you picked up the first guy?
Well, I mean, my dad was a big-time Springsteen fan when he was younger. He's not so much anymore. He listens to a lot more country music now, which I won't get into that, but...
Not a big fan of that? No?
Not really, no. I know some people like it, but it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah. What do you plan on doing anything with music, like after college or like in your professional life, or is it more just a hobby that you think would be fun to do?
Well, for right now, I guess it's more of a hobby than anything else. It's something I like writing and recording my own music. I like playing at open mic nights for fun. I think it kind of gives a little bit of a personality to myself. It's the kind of thing I would love. I mean, I guess it's sort of everybody's dream to be a rock star someday. I mean, I'd love to see something like this take off, but for right now, it's sort of just an independent project I'm doing on the side.
Well, that's nothing really wrong with that.
Yeah.
Do you like ever co-host with anyone else? Do you go on other shows basically and just play your own music, or is that how the radio station works? Or
I mean, what is great about the station is that there can be some cross promotion that goes on. For the most part, it's everyone just kind of does their own thing, which is cool. But there's been a couple times where I've helped out. My friend Jackie has her own show called White Lightning, which I think is on Friday evenings. I'm not sure of the actual time. Sorry, Jackie, if you're watching. But actually, in terms of a co-host, yeah, my good friend Nevi Acosta, shout out to Nevi, actually hosts the show with me. Initially, the first semester I was on campus at QU, it was a 1-hour show. The rule is if you're a returning DJ, you can upgrade to a 2-hour time slot. And I thought, 2 hours just me in a station by myself talking can get kind of lonely. So it's like you like to have somebody there to kind of play off of and to bounce off of. And Nevi was the first person to say yes, so I went with her.
All right, that's very great. Well, Connor, thanks for coming on.
John,
Definitely.
always a pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. If you'd like to keep up with any Q30 news or TMA information, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Snapchat. Thank you all and have a great week.